Hi everybody, Kristen here with Bariatric Mindset, and I am here to talk to you about grazing. What is grazing? And why do I not want to do it? So I have a lot of times where people will ask me, what is grazing? What is that? And grazing is kind of like snacking after weight loss surgery. So once you have weight loss surgery, you don't snack. We have meals, and that is it. So grazing is actually very dangerous for the post-op weight loss surgery patient because if you are eating all throughout the day, a lot of different things, you can very quickly consume a large amount of calories, which you really don't want to consume because you really want to get that weight off. And so grazing is typically considered the long-term, several times a day snacking of what we may call low value foods, right? Or grazing type foods such as like chips or popcorn or snack foods, things that don't really add a lot of nutritional value over the course of the day. So post-op weight loss surgery patients, and hopefully you're here because you are one, uh, eat high protein, low carb, lots of fluids, vegetables that are typically low glycemic index, so that are not very carby, right? So not starchy vegetables. So again, low glycemic vegetables and things like that to get the highest amount of nutritional value in your day. So it's very interesting because one of the things that I used to eat regularly before surgery was cereal. Not typically a grazing food, but that's one of those foods that I just don't eat anymore because it's not giving me a lot of nutritional value for it's what is it not giving me that as much bang for my buck, so to speak, in terms of what I'm eating. So for breakfast, I've exchanged the cereal for an omelet that has, let's say, veggies, ham, or turkey or something like that in it, cheese, which is filled with protein, and then a lot of those vegetables that raise the nutritional value. So low nutrition foods throughout the day, things that are high in carbs like cookies or cakes or candies or anything that's really like a high carbohydrate food, which is considered like a low value food, is not really a good choice for a post-op weight loss surgery patient, bariatric patient. And so grazing throughout the day typically comes from what we call head hunger or emotional hunger, or just the habit of, from a Freudian perspective, an oral fixation of putting something in your mouth or being used to eating all throughout the day. And so that can be something that actually prevents you from losing weight or causes regain. So we want to say no grazing. One of the ways to do that is really to help you to meal plan, so that you know what you're going to eat throughout the day, you know when you're going to eat throughout the day, and so that you're not going into like a starvation or famine mode, even psychologically, where you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know the last time I ate, I don't know what I'm eating, what am I going to eat, what am I going to eat? And so meal planning is a great way to kind of get a handle on your food and also to get a handle on your mindset so that you know when you're going to eat and what you're going to eat, and so that you can carefully select it ahead of time. And if you haven't meal planned, it's important to know what foods you have available to you, whether you're at work or at home, that are high value foods so that you are not at risk of grazing. And if you are physically hungry, it's important that you are choosing high value foods rather than low value foods, and kind of making that mindset shift, and also working on your habits as a post-op weight loss surgery patient so that you do not get in the habit of grazing, and that you focus on these habits of eating healthily, eating the high nutrition foods. But again, this is the mindset technique. And I have said this in a couple different videos. I'm not a dietitian. I am not only a a vertical sleeve gastrectomy patient, but I'm also a psychotherapist and mindset coach for bariatric patients. And the reason I talk about a lot of the food is because it is so important to know what you're eating, when you're eating, and those types of things. However, I also like to say it's not only about the food, it's how you feel about the food and the actions you're taking when it comes to food. And a lot of the behaviors that we see, such as grazing, don't actually have to do with the foods themselves, but actually have to do with the feelings about the foods, or the feelings that you're experiencing that cause you to run to the foods, which cause those grazing behaviors, because you may be looking to self-soothe or cope because that's what you did prior to surgery. So one of the ways that you can overcome grazing is, again, to plan your meals in advance, to know what you're eating and when, to kind of have that set up, and then to have tools in your emotional and mental toolbox if you start experiencing head hunger or emotional hunger, or when your office happens to bring in donuts that week and you're like, really, guys, really? So it's important that you have a list of tools. And I'm going to share a couple with you today, such as having a journal that you can write in, or that you can talk to someone, especially like, oh crap, they brought in donuts again. I'm really struggling with this. Or alternative behaviors such as doing something differently, taking yourself away from the break room, busying yourself to get your thoughts off of the food, or then asking yourself, like, what is the feeling that I'm experiencing thinking about this food that is not on my plan, right? Or re-engaging with your why, right? So what's keeping me motivated? What is it that I want so badly that is so much, more important than this moment, that this food, than this situation? And that's going to help you take yourself way beyond this moment and that bagel or that donut or whatever it is, the popcorn, so that you can be successful in the long term. Because I promise you, when you get past this moment, you will be like, oh my gosh, I really got past this and I accomplished this. I got past this hurdle. And I think I might have talked about this in another video, but I did not climb this mountain to be defeated by this hill. And every time you come across something that appears to be an obstacle or a stumbling block, like the urge to graze or the urge to eat something that's off plan, that's a hill. You did not come this far to be defeated by the hill. So it's very important that you remember that you're in this for the long haul, that you have a mission, that you have a deeper why, and that is so much bigger than the short term. So when conquering grazing behaviors, it's important that you put yourself back in control initially by planning your meals and by knowing ahead of time so that you're not grazing all day long. And I have had clients that have come to me and said, oh my gosh, I'm grazing. I can't believe I've allowed this to happen. It's mindless eating. And a lot of times that's what it is. So it's not necessarily a conscious, like, I'm going to graze at 2 o'clock or I'm going to graze at 9:30. It's typically, I'm stressed and I need to eat, or there's popcorn there and I'm going to eat it, or, oh, there's this in the break room, or there's this over here. So it's typically not a conscious behavior. Initially, it's a habit. In order to break the grazing habit, you've got to do something differently. And that something differently is creating a meal plan for yourself to put yourself back in control and to keep yourself back on track, and then to use alternate behaviors. So a plan of action, a set of tools that you can say, no, I may think I'm hungry, but I'm not actually physically hungry. And sometimes hunger is not really hunger, but it's actually code that you need some water and that you are thirsty. So take a sip and redirect yourself to a different behavior until it's time to eat. So this is going to help you get on track, stay on track to avoid grazing behaviors. And if you have experienced grazing, don't beat yourself up. Redirect yourself, because that beat up, that internal, I suck, I'm an idiot, blah, 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 that's not going to do anything for you. That's just going to, again, get you in the negative cyclical self-talk. I'm a failure. I can't believe I've done this. Don't allow yourself to be defeated by a day or two or even a couple weeks of grazing. Get yourself back on track. Snap out of it, take back control, use these steps, and redirect yourself. You can always get back on track. It is never too late. I promise you, I promise you, I promise you. So it's just important that you are aware that you're grazing so that you can snap out of it, take back control, and change the direction of your life. Because grazing only leads you to regain. Sadly, it doesn't help you get on track in terms of losing or maintenance. So remember that. So this is what grazing is. This is how to help you overcome grazing. And if you have any other questions, please be sure to leave them in the comments below. If you need additional support or have other questions that you'd like answered privately, come on over to my private Facebook group, Bariatric Mindset Mavens. And don't forget, remember to subscribe to the channel so that you can get weekly videos in your inbox and more information about living your most successful post-op weight loss surgery life. This is Kristen with Bariatric Mindset. Subscribe below, give us a thumbs up because we're awesome, and hope to see you on the next video. Have a great day.